I've got some really good news for you. If you're living in fear right now of a pandemic, or you just don't know what to think, and this whole second wave is just mind-blowing, I've got some good news for you. You know, your subconscious mind, the same subconscious mind that keeps your heart going while you're asleep, that helps you breathe, that heals a cut, is the same subconscious mind, the spirit in you, that can heal your body. All your cells, they're completely new cells in 11 months. In 11 months, you're a whole new body. You know, that's why I don't understand why people don't forgive themselves, right? So let me just drop some facts on you. I've been, pretty calm through the pandemic and not really fear-mongering and not spreading any vicious, lies or hate. I just kind of think for myself. And because God knows the media is not doing it. They're not representing the facts. And as a former journalist and founding publisher, I'm embarrassed of that profession. So don't ever call me a journalist. So I had to do my own investigative reporting. And you know what? I think I found it. Some answers that you're going to want to hear. First of all, the new wave that is coming right now in Texas and Florida is not a wave at all. They're counting antibodies tests in that data. So what that means, So what that means is an alarm's going up. No, what that means is if you caught COVID in February, maybe January even, or March, and you go and get an antibody test, and you're positive, they will count you today in the infection rate. Now, Florida had 10,000 infections yesterday. Just think about that. But their death numbers over the last 4 days have went down from 48 to 24. In fact, they're the same death numbers as Virginia, who is actually declining in infections. So now you could say, oh, well, Micah, just wait in 2 weeks, it's going to be parallel to 10,000. No, it's not. No, it's not. Every hospital now, you come in the hospital, you're getting tested. You're a guest, you're getting tested. Okay? So what you have to look at now, because the infection numbers are fake. Now, right on the CDC's website, they say, they disclose in the data that Florida and Texas actually are including the antibody tests. However, the other states like California, New York, so surprisingly the political states, may or may not be counting them. It's at their discretion. Basically, whichever way the political wind blows. So think about that. The other thing is, when you're in a hospital, they're doing it not only because they're giving incentives, like you can go get tested today for $75. They will give you $75. It's like, that's more than you get for giving blood or plasma. Okay, so why? Why? And then let's go on further. When you're in a hospital, you get one guess. They're testing everybody. If you die in a car wreck, okay, and you have positive antibodies, you get counted in that death count of 24 today. If you die of cancer and you have positive antibodies because everybody's getting tested, you're getting counted in that. So my question to the powers that be, CDC, why did you accept flawed data? That's useless to make decisions on whether to open a state or not. Second blame is on the states or the White House for not creating a standard for what we can gauge these infections. The deaths are the same now. You cannot fake the death rates, but as I just told you, they are faking the death rates. So, who are we to believe? I personally think, based on the past, and don't say, oh, we're more medically advanced now. Are you kidding me? Like in February, we were like, oh, don't wear a mask. You're only keeping. What? Come on. Now you got to wear a mask. Like, do they know? I don't think they do. But this is one thing for sure, is if there's all these positive tests, the virus is not getting weaker. The human race is getting stronger, and we're fighting it off with herd immunity. For example, my wife's in anesthesiology. She brings me, I have not been sick since we met. I will get sick tomorrow, probably, you never know. But so far in 3 years, I've not been sick because she brings home a certain kind of immunity because she's around it all day, right? So peanut allergies, another thing. my kids were definitely allergic to peanuts. You know, I wish that the country would have paid attention like they're paying attention to this pandemic. I wish the country would pay attention to, you know, death rates by car accidents, and then maybe we all stop driving because more people die in car wrecks every day than die from coronavirus. You know, I mean, I was doing my own math, and I figured that you're 22 times more likely to get in a car wreck than to be infected. So, you know, you're way more likely to die of heart disease. So why aren't we, you know, taking the action and shutting down McDonald's? It does not make any sense. It's starting to become very political to me, and I do not like that one bit. As an American, I don't like to be told who to vote for. I want to make up my own mind. I don't want to see political ads, and I want us all to get along and move the country forward. And this is not moving the country forward. And what's worse is the majority of people, the race mind, are gravitating to this fear. There's more anxiousness and fear in this country than ever before, which causes these riots, the chip on your shoulder. I mean, come on. We still don't have a Chinese, Mexican, or an Italian president, okay? But we've had a black president. So why don't all those lives matter? Why aren't they in the conversation? Or those races, right? I'm sorry. We're pulling down statues of Andrew Jackson, for the love of God. I personally don't, you know, good or bad, even if I was German, I wouldn't erase Hitler from the history books. We've already erased God from our school textbooks. You know, let's you know, we need to remember our past and for what it was. And, you know, by all means, I mean, in Lynchburg, Virginia, they are trying to change the name. Now, first of all, if I was black, I wouldn't, and I am 2%, by the way, I wouldn't want to live in a town called Lynchburg, but it actually is a man called John Lynch, and he freed his slaves. But that doesn't matter. There's still 5,000 people that signed a petition to change the name of Lynchburg to something else because it offends them. Well, that offends me. Don't erase the past. Own it and change it. Can't do anything about the past. My grandfather came over in a boat from Italy, okay? I can't do anything about the past. I can only change the future, okay? So don't drag me into whatever this is because you have a chip on your shoulder. If you project that everyone's a racist, they become racist. If I think that somebody doesn't like me, then they will not like me because of the attitudes that I project. And you have to get that in your life. I used to think every time I got pulled over, I was going to get a ticket because cops just didn't like me. And then one day I saw my friend Jeremy from California get pulled over going 20 over, and he was just like, "Oh man, I'm so sorry," with a smile on his face. And I was always like, "Give me the ticket," you know? And I learned something that day. It changed my life. Project the positivity, right? And so with this second wave that doesn't exist, maybe it does, and I hope I'm wrong. I mean, I hope I'm not wrong. But I mean, there may be another wave. There may be 50, 70% people that test positive. And then we got to go back to the Spanish flu. And the end, it's a good Netflix special if you get a chance to watch it. It's called, I think, Coronavirus. It's like a half an hour. The last part of it's super political. I can't stand that, but it had some really good facts in it about why this virus is so tricky, where it sits on a graph as far as the stages of how quickly it can kill you, all the symptoms that it masks, and why this middle part, you know, if it was a deadly virus, a super deadly virus, it would be fine because everybody would be dead in a day or two, right? But the way that this lingers and stays around for 2 weeks makes it very difficult to contain, and then it masks all these symptoms. So like I said, you know, people are dying of natural causes with positive antibodies and being counted at that you know, in the death counts. It's not right. I don't know what the answer is, but you know, American people need to be educated on what this is and what these numbers are, because the second wave is not happening right now. With Florida and Texas, only 6 to 10% by the CDC's website, go look at it, are infected. 6 to 10% of the population. Then these other states like New York or even Virginia have, you know, 11 to 20%. So how can Florida be having a second wave? Or maybe just common sense would tell me that they're now catching up with the rest of the states. So, I mean, in short, I just rambled for 10 minutes. But I mean, it need to be heard. Like, people, think for yourself, all right? And this is how you gauge, whether or not news is BS or not. I don't really buy the fake news term. I mean, I read opinion articles that sound more like news articles nowadays, and news articles that sound more like opinions. If you feel if you read an article, okay, listen to me on this. This is important. My Uber driver asked me this just the other day. He's like, well, how do I know? And how do I know what's real? Believe Fox or CNBC? And I go, I don't know, man. To tell you the truth, and I came up with this answer. It's really good, right on the spot. Is, you know what? Have you ever been sold? Has anybody tried to pitch you something and it makes you very uncomfortable, right? You know that feeling. Or when you read an article, do you feel like fear and anxiety? Well, the fact of the matter is, the facts are the facts. They don't make you feel those feelings because they're facts. They're black or white. Hey, guess what? I'm reporting that 2 + 2 is 4. Okay? Great. But if I report that, you know what? Well, the 2 is not the 2 because it's a 2 and it's black and it's yellow, but it may be a 4 that's pink. Now, you're going to get upset, right? So when you read news articles and they make you upset, chances are they're probably inaccurate because they're putting their own bias, their own personal feelings. Just report the facts. They're clickbaiting you. And that's a good way to differentiate. Me personally, I've been out of watching news for 8 years. It's been the happiest time of my life. I have reverted to my younger looking ways. And I mean, if you looked at me 10 years ago, you would have thought I was 68. I mean, I look more my age now and I'm healthier. So what I would do is turn off everything. And I have, but most recently playing the stock market and just looking for truth about COVID, I've gotten back into it. And you know what? Nothing's changed. So I'm checking out, but I just wanted to bless the world with my 2 cents and opinion if it matters. I love you. Have a great day.